My heart stopped and my eyes bulged. I leaned forward in my seat and I couldn't believe what I was seeing and I could not look away. I wiped the condensation from the window, squinted for a better look, and I thought, this is going to end badly. Now, before I go any further, let me back it up a minute and tell you how I got here. See, I moved to the Northside in October of 2009 when my then fiance and I bought our first home in Fineview. Now, neither of us had any experience with the Northside, really didn't know the neighborhood at all, didn't have friends here, and quite honestly, we didn't exactly seek out those connections at first. The Northside became the place we lived, but it really didn't quite feel like home. And when we told our family and friends that we were moving to the Northside, we got a lot of questions. Are you sure it's safe? Will you be able to leave your house at night? Do you think your home value will fall? You're not going to raise kids there, are you? And all these questions underscored this perception of the Northside as a scary place, some place to feel like you're in danger all the time. And that's kind of what I took into the neighborhood when I moved in. And I saw unfamiliar streets as pathways to destruction and boarded up businesses and homes as ominous signs of impending doom, and unfamiliar faces as potential threats that I just didn't want to get too close. So I walked around with this fear every day of what might be lurking around the corner. Now, have you ever felt afraid in a new place? Now, despite this fear, I still had to live my life, which included going to work in downtown Pittsburgh. And I don't have downtown parking money, so I decided to start riding the 11 Fineview bus to and from town every day. And that 11 Fineview bus took me down streets I otherwise might have avoided. And I started to discover new parks and landmarks and parts of the neighborhood I just never knew existed. I got a sense of how my neighborhood connected with the surrounding area, and I became more curious about exploring the Northside. And I was also exposed to neighbors I might not have otherwise interacted with. And some were retired and talkative, and others were young and carefree. I met moms and dads getting their children to school, and men and women just going about their lives and riding the bus to do it. And I realized we really weren't that different. Yet despite this, I still felt somewhat out of place. And maybe it's the suit and tie I wear to work, but I felt conspicuously different riding the bus, almost like a target, never quite at ease or completely safe. And I was riding on a chilly morning in March of 2012 with this persistent fear just kind of always in the background. And this day I was just going to work like normal, sitting in my favorite seat, which is on the left side towards the back, right where they used to keep the heater. And had my headphones in, just minding my own business, when the bus rolled up to its stop at the corner of Perrysville Avenue and North Charles Street. You know the place? Yeah? Yeah, it's busy, but not exactly thriving. At the time, there was a convenience store on one corner, 2 boarded-up businesses on the adjacent corners, and there was a condemned building ready to be torn down right next to where the bus was stopped. And as I sat there this morning, I looked out the window, and I saw an old man with a gray beard and a dirty winter coat, and he's walking along the sidewalk across from the convenience store, when suddenly he runs out into the intersection, waving his arms and shouting. And I'm sitting there in my seat, and my heart stops, and my eyes bulge. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I couldn't look away. So I leaned forward in my seat, and I wiped off the window, and I squinted for a better look, and I thought, this is going to end badly. When suddenly, the light changes from red to green, but the bus can't move because he's stopping traffic in all directions. And I'm thinking, is this guy crazy? He's probably on drugs. Looks like he could be homeless too. And in those snap judgments, those instant momentary unconscious biases came up. As I'm sitting there writing this bleak backstory, a woman and her small son emerge from behind the condemned building, cross the street, and board the bus. And I instantly realized this man was not crazy or on drugs. He was simply a concerned neighbor helping this mother and son get where they needed to go. And he was putting himself at risk to do it. That's a good neighbor. That's a good man. And in my fear, I had completely misjudged him. And this small experience made it so clear for me how easy it is to judge what we don't understand, and how often those judgments are just completely wrong. When you judge, you limit yourself and your ability to see things as they are, and the world becomes a scary and intimidating place. And since that day, I've tried to remember that we're all on a journey, and the place that those journeys intersect only provides a glimpse, never the whole story. Now, I've been living in Fineview for over 11 years now, much longer than I ever imagined when I moved in. And you'll still find me riding the number 11 bus in my suit and tie, still sitting in my favorite seat. And over those 11 years, I've recognized the charm of the neighborhood. I've met some incredible, interesting, unique, fun people that are my neighbors and my friends and have helped make Fineview my home. I like to think that I live in the best neighborhood, in the best city, in the best country, in the best planet of this entire solar system. And it's hard to beat that. And I've realized that I do belong here, that we're all neighbors and we need to look out for each other. And that sense of connection, of care, of community has made all the difference in my journey, and it will in yours too. Thank you.